welcome everyone to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee all the youth and educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we are pleased that you all could tune in for our Heart of the Hall of Famer series featuring Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox, and we are really excited to be able to bring this program and our Hall of Famers to you. The real idea and premise behind this program is really to convey what it took to get in the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. And, you know, as we mentioned with the earlier group, these guys are all great examples of athleticism. We know that. But at the core of who they are is what made them great. And that's these 6 pillars that you guys are studying: the trustworthiness, the respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Because one thing that can be said is that most of our Hall of Famers, if they didn't excel in football, they would have gone on to excel at something else, and many of which, like Mr. Wilcox, have gone on to excel at other things in life. And that's because of their character. That's because of at the core that makes them successful no matter what they decide to do. Whether it's being a plumber, a pastor, a preacher, a lawyer, a teacher, whatever it might be, they will be a Hall of Famer in that area because of their character. See, you guys have the unique opportunity to be able to talk with Mr. Wilcox today to find out what made him great and what suggestions or advice that he might have when you encounter obstacles, or how he got through stuff, whatever it might be. But before we do that, and before we ask Mr. Wilcox to share some of his opening remarks to the program, we would like to recognize some individuals that made this program possible. We have to thank our friends at Cisco. Bob Gardner there, thank you, Bob, for setting up the system there in the Phoenix area and getting Mr. Wilcox in front of the camera. We got to thank you for that, as well as Cisco for doing that. So thank you very much. We also have to thank Deer Valley Unified School District, because they're the ones that opened the doors and allowed Bob and Dave to come in with the video system and with Dave himself to come in and utilize their facilities so we could do the broadcast from. So thank you to Deer Valley Unified, all the administration there. This wouldn't be possible without you guys, so thank you very much. We want to thank as always, with all these programs, as many of you have gotten to know them pretty well, our good friends at eTech Ohio through our State Department of Education. They are the ones that help bridge all these sites together. I want to say thank you to our friends there, Jason and Josh and Mark and the others there. Thank you very much for making this and all of our Heart of the Hall of Famer programs possible. We need to thank the teachers, obviously, that are there at all the school districts across the country, because without your sacrifice and planning and all these things to make this program possible to get your students in the classroom here today, it wouldn't be possible. And last but definitely not least, the real stars of the show, because you're going to be driving the program, so to speak, here today, and that is our students that are tuned in here. I've seen some of the questions that you guys have submitted, some great questions. I know many of you have done research on Mr. Wilcox's background. You've seen some of the video that we sent you guys as well, so we are excited that all the work that you guys put in the preparation and doing this to make this a successful program. So thank you for that. But what we'd like to do is give the students an opportunity to recognize themselves and give a shout out to all the other schools. So when I call upon your school, feel free to give a shout out, show some school spirit, and give a shout out in your classroom. So that means teachers, please close your door in those classrooms so they can yell out here for just a moment. And we're going to start off with Newark Digital Academy. Go ahead if you want to unmute your microphones and give a little shout out, so show some school spirit. Woo! Let's try that again. Let's all work together on that one. Newark Digital Academy. Woo! Okay, all right, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Newark. Appreciate it. And I think they may have just got connected. Let's stay in the state of Ohio. Lorain County JVS, did you guys get connected? Maybe not. They're having some technical difficulties. They called me before. I thought maybe I heard them come in. So we'll wait to see if they get in here. I do know Jennings in Louisiana, Jennings High School. Go ahead and show some school spirit. Go ahead. Okay, thank you, Jennings. Thank you very much. And glad you guys could tune in. Let's go to New York and Wheeler Elementary.
Hi, this is the Lorain County JVS. We were able to get into the call.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and give a shout out then, Lorain County. Your students want to give a shout out? Okay, all right, thank you, Lorain County. Go ahead and mute your microphones there. I'm glad you guys could join in. Let's go to Wheeler Elementary. And is it Nedro or Nedro? Am I mispronouncing that? Nedro, okay. I'll put the phonetic spelling here so I don't mispronounce it. Go ahead and give a shout out, Nedro. Perfect. Thank you very much. And last but definitely not least, let's go to Alabama and Huntsville. Mountain Gap.
Our students are coming back from lunch, and we'll be right there for a Roll Tide with you.
Well, Penny, go ahead and give a shout out then.
Okay, Roll Tide!
There we go. So thank you very much, Mountain Gap. Please, you guys could tune in. Well, we'll remind all the schools to please keep your microphones muted throughout the program. We will call upon you, and even after we call upon you to ask your question, make sure you mute your microphone immediately afterwards so we can eliminate any background noise or anything like that. But again, I want to say thank you, all of you, for tuning here today. But let me introduce our speaker here for today, and the person's going to be answering all your questions and all those things, and that's Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox from the class of 2000. And when I do these introductions, I like to break it down almost in three parts: on the field, off the field, and then what you might call extracurricular or charitable activities. I think one of the things that's great about our Hall of Famers is that they've used their Hall of Fame status to help elevate some of the things that they're doing with various charitable organizations and whatnot. And Dave Wilcox is no stranger to that, as he does a lot of work, especially with one of the hospitals in the Providence area. But let's go ahead and give you some information about him. He was a third-round draft pick in 1964. He was selected by Houston Oilers in the AFL. They were the rivals against the NFL. Eventually, the AFL became the AFC as we know it. The NFL obviously became the NFC as we know it. He was nicknamed the Intimidator. I don't know if any of you students have that nickname in your classroom, but he was nicknamed the Intimidator for his aggressive style of play, considered by many to be the finest outside linebacker of his era, particularly effective at keeping tight ends from getting off the line. Mr. Wilcox prided himself on not only allowing opponents to block him, he was all NFL 5 times, second team all NFL 3 other times. He was named all NFC 3 times, and he was elected to 7 Pro Bowls. Now, off the field, amongst other things, Mr. Wilcox owned with a partner 2 health clubs and a therapy business for 30 plus years. So he's a business owner, not only a business owner, but multiple business owner for 30 plus years. So you can see he was very successful after his football career as well. Now, I think teachers, you'll appreciate this. He was also in his hometown of Junction City, Oregon. He served on the school board for 11 years. So he's passionate about education and making a difference in our children's lives as well. He's a lifelong farmer, Mr. Wilcox, along with a group of other farmers. So we start talking about these charitable things, the extra things that they do. He was able to build a new high school football practice field for a high school in Oregon. He also worked together with other University of Oregon people to build 2 new football practice fields for, as Mr. Wilcox puts it, our Ducks. He's been involved in fundraising efforts for numerous events and organizations like the Providence Children's Hospital in Portland. And Mr. Wilcox has a touching story I think he can share about his work there and with his sons. He's a hunter. He's into car restoration, and most importantly, is a family man. He currently resides in Junction City, Oregon with his wife, and he has 2 children, Justin and Josh. And before we ask Mr. Wilcox for his opening remarks, I would like to show you a little snippet of his playing career.
Dave Wilcox prowled the field for 11 seasons as an outside linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. Wilcox was the type of player every team wanted. He was a natural leader who thrived on contact. Wilcox had an instinctive ability to find the football and disrupt the offense. He was an exceptional tackler with long arms and great foot speed to corral any runner. Playing for the 49ers before their championship run, Wilcox received many accolades, including 4 All-Pro selections and 7 Pro Bowl invitations. His fiery determination and smarts helped him become one of the most feared linebackers in history.
Okay, and all the schools can join me and unmute your microphones for a second and join me in giving a warm round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox. And go ahead and mute your mics at all the sites. And Mr. Wilcox, the microphone is yours, sir. And Dave, we're not hearing you yet. If you guys are there. Bob Gardner? Bob, are you guys there with Dave? I think he must have had a potty break or something real quick. It looks like they got disconnected. So give us just a second. We apologize for the technical difficulties. He was just there just a second ago, as you guys saw him, but he has disappeared.
Miss it. Y'all made her miss it.
All right. And he's back. Mr. Wilcox, we'll try this again. The microphone's yours.
Oh, okay, thanks.
We lost connection there. They got disconnected there for a second.
Yeah, modern technology. Well, I guess it's good to be here today and talk to some of the young people of our country, and because they are the future of our country, as we talked earlier. And I guess tell you a little bit about my background as where I grew up. In 1936, my parents left Oklahoma with a Dust Bowl and Depression and moved to Eastern Oregon and homesteaded a farm and took rocks and sagebrush off and added irrigation, and we grew up on a farm. I had 6 brothers and 1 sister. It was a real small farming community. There was a whole bunch of people that came out from Oklahoma together, and so they had a pretty tough road there. I went to grade school. We had a 4-room school. My 8th grade class was 8 kids. Went to high school, which was about 15 miles from where our farm was. And the whole high school, I think there was 320 kids in 4 years of high school there. So, and then from there I went to Boise Junior College, which is now Boise State, and for 2 years, and then went over to University of Oregon and finished there in 1964. Got drafted, went to San Francisco. I grew up like I said, with my family. We milked cows, stacked bales, moved irrigation pipe, drove tractors, rode horses, did all that. I have an older brother that became blind in early 50s. He was 12 years old. He had an optic nerve, had a tumor on his optic nerve, and it ruined his sight. He was blind. Grew up on the farm, did all the things that we did. Raised German Shorthair and trained German Shorthair bird dogs. Back in that day, it was pretty amazing what he did. I have an older brother that played the Philadelphia Eagles in 1960. They won the state championship, or the championship, NFL. They beat Green Bay, and then he became a women's basketball coach and teacher at Whitman College in Walla Walla, Washington for about 35 years. So I kind of done a little of everything. We live on a farm. We built a log house in 1978 where we live now, and I've had a number of dogs. I love dogs. I didn't tell the other group this morning, but we foster puppies now, and for the Humane Society, and that's kind of hard to give them back after you've had them for a couple of weeks. So anyhow, my wife is I have to take him back. I'm the bad guy, I guess. Anyhow, we do that. We do a lot of charity thing. I was on our school board, like Jerry was saying, for 11 years. My wife was involved with a lot of stuff at the high schools and, well, the whole school district, actually, where we live now. We have two sons, both went to Junction City High School, went to University of Oregon, both played football at Oregon. My oldest son played with the Saints, played with the Europe, whatever team was in Europe at that time. He did 6 months of WWF wrestling. Decided that probably wasn't the career path he wanted to pursue. He now lives in Portland, Oregon, and works for Navistar, which is an international truck company. And our second son became a coached at Boise State for 5 years. Actually coached there when Boise beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl about 7 or 8 years ago, or whenever it was. He was coaching at the university and then left and coached at Tennessee for 2 years as a defensive coordinator. Just left a month ago and is now in Seattle. So we're kind of a football family. I have one sister that was kind of charge of everything and took care of us and straightened us all up. We all grew up on a farm and in the community, and I guess my family and where I grew up and how I grew up is just kind of how the things worked out. I wanted to be a baseball player because there was a guy named Harmon Killebrew played against my brothers in high school. I think he's number 11 on the all-time home run list right now. I think that's where it is. And so we kind of followed him. But I ended up really lucky. I had great coaches when I was in high school, college, and in the pros. Really fortunate to be able to do what I did. And I guess must have been pretty good along the way there somewhere. I don't really think about that too much. I'm not sure what else it is, but you know, our young people, the kids out there in today's world, I know that it's tough growing up in today's world with all the distractions and the things that go on in our society, but somehow you'll make it through all this. And I guess my comment to all of you is just don't forget where you come from, and give back to the community and do those things. I guess that's pretty much it, Jerry.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Wilcox. And I think one thing you're going to take, assess from what he said, and judging from what I heard earlier as well, and just from me knowing Mr. Wilcox for a while now, is I think you'll find humility is one of his biggest attributes that you can just hear in what he says. But what we're going to do, you guys have the opportunity now, and I saw some of your questions you guys submitted to me in advance. You guys have the opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Wilcox, and we're going to work in order. We're going to start with Newark Digital Academy, go to Lorain County JVS, then Jennings, then Wheeler, and then Mountain Gap. And I encourage you guys again to ask those thought-provoking questions about, what obstacles did he face? What character qualities do you think are most important to be successful? Whatever it might be that you guys want to ask. Because let me put this in perspective for you guys. Because I know until you did some research, probably none of you had heard of Dave, didn't hear of Dave Wilcox before. But let me just put things in perspective for you. Each year, there's 1,500 men that play in the National Football League. Since 1920, there have been countless numbers of folks, over 20,000 players in all, that have played in the National Football League. All right. Out of those 20,000, there are only 267 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We just announced 6 new ones last Saturday, so it'll be 273 coming up here. But there's only 267 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame that can say that they have the jacket, they have the ring, and they have the bronze bust that resides here in Canton, Ohio. And, so when you start talking about linebackers, whether it's a middle linebacker like Ray Lewis or an outside linebacker, some of the guys you see maybe from the Giants or whatnot, they hope, I tell you this, they hope to be in Mr. Wilcox's shoes someday and be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's the pinnacle of success that you can achieve as a football player. And I would fathom if they got to know Mr. Wilcox and his background and his life, that they would, aspire to be him off the field as well. So you guys have the opportunity to talk to one of the greatest players that has ever played in the National Football League. So I encourage you to ask those questions. So we're going to start off with Newark Digital Academy. And just a reminder, all schools keep your mics muted throughout the program. And even after you ask your question, go ahead and mute the microphone so we can eliminate any distractions. So Newark Digital Academy in Newark, Ohio, go ahead with your question.
Okay, Mr. Wilcox, what's your favorite football play?
What's my favorite football play?
Yeah.
Well, my personal one that I did, you can just shake your head.
Whichever one you want.
Well, I don't know. There was a whole bunch of them. I guess my favorite play was just being able to play the game. How about that? Does that answer your question?
Great answer.
I just feel like I was really lucky to be able to get to do what I did. Had great coaches, was in the right place at the right time. When I was in high school, for example, we lost 2 football games in 4 years. Won the state championship twice, finished second once and fourth once. But I also had a lot of teammates that were pretty darn good too. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, and then in college, I went to Boise Junior College and then went to University of Oregon and then played 11 years in San Francisco. Had a lot of great teammates, and I didn't do this by myself. I had great coaches, and without my teammates, I couldn't play. I can't play 1 against 11, so we'd have to have some help there. And I sure depended on my teammates and all that. And I guess just where I grew up and all the things that we did. I'm not sure why I decided. Well, I was lucky, like I said, to be able to pursue my career. I got a scholarship to go to college, and out of my family, there were 6 brothers and 1 sister, and 4 of us got scholarships to go play football in college. And if we hadn't gotten those scholarships, there was probably no way we would have gone to college. Our family just would not have been able to do that. So anyhow, luck has a lot to do with it, and I guess we probably spent some time doing things to get there.
Thank you, Newark. And let's go ahead and go to Lorraine, JVS.
Okay. How do you feel as an adult that you are continuing to shape your character? Okay.
How am I shaping my character? Well, I am probably a character to some people. I don't know. Earlier we talked about what's really important in life, I guess, and the trustworthiness and respect and the citizenship and all these things. They all come together to me, and it comes from my background, probably where I grew up and the things that my parents went through, and my brother that was blind that had to do all these things that without being able to see. I can't imagine how hard his life was, although he never complained. My 2 sons once in a while complain, and I will tell them to get over it, so I don't really worry about that. But as a playing on a team, and I thought a team sport is a great teacher of life, I guess, because you have to get along and you have to depend on your friends to do their job, and they're depending on you, and so don't fail your responsibilities to get things done. I don't know if that helps you or not, but there again, I just feel like I was lucky to have some skills of some kind that I got to do that, and then meet the people I've met and learn the things that you'll learn as you go through life. You people, you young people are our future. So pursue your dreams. Go for it. Listen and respect the people next to you, and you know, and they're trusting you to help them, and you trust them to help you. So I hope that you all get to do things that you dream about and pursue. And it's not going to be easy, you know. Things are hard, but that's, you know, you can get through it. It's not that you can't do it. I hope that answered some of your stuff.
Thank you, Lorraine County, and we'll go to
Thanks.
Jennings, Louisiana. Jennings High School.
How does a person's character contribute to his or her athletic performance?
I didn't understand what you said. What'd you say?
How does a person's character contribute to his or her athletic performance?
Is that what you said?
How does your character contribute to your performance?
Well,
Oh.
I guess if you look at all these things that they talk about in the character thing, I guess you guys have studied those or looked at them. You have to depend on people. It's a team sport. Golf is like an individual sport, I think. Football and basketball and life is a team sport. And you have to trust people, and you need to be responsible enough that they trust you to do what you say you're going to do. You have to respect people. Doesn't make any difference where you come from, what you speak, whatever it is. We're all in this together, whether you believe it or not, we are. And here we are, and we need to make the best of it. And don't do anything to someone that you wouldn't want them to do you. I mean, I just think that, you know, I have a lot of good friends, and I know a lot of people. I've been around a long time, and it's just important to me to be able to get up in the morning and feel good about what you're going to do and go for it and pursue your dreams, whatever, and listen to your teachers. I think I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this group or not, but the teachers to me are some of the most influential people you have in your life, and help them. They're trying to help you be a better person, so you might want to listen to them once in a while. So pursue that, and you guys are going to be fine. So take care of us older people, okay?
Teachers, I know you probably want to applaud them right now, so go ahead. Let's go to Wheeler. Let's go to Wheeler in Nedrow, New York. Go ahead, Wheeler.
What character qualities do you believe it takes to be successful in all areas of life?
Stand up and say it loud. Oh, we got it?
Yeah.
Were they on earlier, these guys?
No, this question now. Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't know. I've never sat down and analyzed each one of these. I guess mainly because where I grew up and how I grew up and when I went to school. You guys are a lot smarter than I am now. But there again, it's about respect and people and trusting people to do their work, and they're trusting you. And so, you know, do you want to be the one that doesn't do your homework, that drags the other people down? I don't think that's the case at all. I think everybody is and be honest with people and fair, and you have compassion for people. I do. So there again, pursue your dream and listen to your teachers and be responsible for getting your homework done. How about that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll remind the schools to make sure to mute your microphone right after you ask the question, just so we can minimize the background noise. Let's go ahead and Alabama, Mountain Gap.
Paul.
Yes.
This is a great honor to ask you a question, but what's the biggest life challenge you've ever had to face?
What's the biggest life challenge you've ever had to face?
What's the biggest life challenge I've ever had to face? I don't know. Biggest challenge. It was probably when I was growing up, getting up in the morning to milk the cows, I guess. I don't know. I guess I never look at that. I just knew you had things to get done and you needed to do them. Every day is a new day, and there's new challenges that pop up probably during the day, and things don't always run as smooth as they should, or they could, or you want them to. So you just deal with it. That's why, like playing on teams, teams teach you so much about how the world works, and you trust your teammates and all of those things. So I'm not sure if I answered your question or not, but I just, tomorrow is a new day, and what an exciting day, and new things are going to happen today and tomorrow. What they are, nobody knows exactly for sure. So you're hoping, but you do your homework in case the opportunity comes, you're ready for whatever that might be. If you want to be a teacher, you got to go to school and you got to learn how to be a teacher. Or if you're going to be a computer person, you got to learn how to do that. So you got to do your homework, and somebody's going to help you with that. And then you got to take care of your friends, and your friends will take care of you. So it's just, I really don't think a lot, sit down and analyze all this a lot. I just kind of do those things, and there again, that probably comes from the background of my family and my parents and my sisters and brother and all the friends that I grew up with.
Thank you, Mountain Gap, and I think we shared with Last Group Fives to come up with a way of describing Dave. Mr. Wilcox, he walks the walk. He doesn't talk the talk, so he just does it on a day-to-day basis. So, and you kind of gather that here today. Let's go ahead and go back to Newark Digital Academy. If you have a question, Newark, go ahead.
Who did you look up to as a player?
Who did I look up to as a player? Actually, probably my first guy that I looked up to as a player was probably my older brother. And then, because he was 4 years older than I am, and if I didn't look up to him, well, he's 6'6", so I did look up to him. He's quite a bit taller than I am. That's a little humor. But I kind of followed him in high school, and then when he went to college, I kind of did the same things. He kind of helped me with that. We grew up in a real small place, and going to University of Oregon, I had a lot of opportunities. When I was in high school, I could have gone to USC, but that would have been just too much for me. So I went to Boise Junior College, a little small school, and then I went to University of Oregon, which was a little bit bigger school. So I kind of made steps along there. But my brother had already done that, so he kind of blazed a trail for me, if you will. And I would say that is, if that was your question, I think he would be the guy.
Thank you, Newark. And we'll go ahead and go to Lorraine. Lorraine, JVS.
Out of the 6 pillars of character, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, which one do you believe is your weakest and why?
Good question.
Probably all of them. I don't sit out and look at these. I'm sure every one of them I could do do better. But I don't sit down and analyze, and I'm not going to beat myself up because I'm not trustworthy or respected enough. I just try to live my life like my parents and my family that I grew up in and that taught me, 50 years ago. And I think all of those things, the citizenship part, and I think we talked earlier, not necessarily to you guys, but it teaches you responsibility. If you're a good citizen, that happens. If you're trustworthy, that happens. Fair, all these things happen, and for a reason. But I could probably do work on every one of them, as we all can. So, if that was your question, I would say, yeah, all of them. I need work on all of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorain County, and let's go to Louisiana. Jennings.
What is the biggest obstacle you have faced on the road to success?
Biggest obstacle, I don't know, somebody asked me that earlier. I don't know, probably everything. And I'm not sure what success you mean. I guess I've survived. We have a nice family, I have good friends. If that's success, it's because of the things that we've done, and all the things that we've done over the years. Probably that my most successful thing is having good friends today. My health is good. I have a good family. Have many opportunities to do different things. I get to, as a Hall of Famer, I travel around the country, and we do, I go to about 15 or 20 events, and there's 2 or 3 real special things that we do. One is for this Providence Children's Hospital in Portland, Oregon. And I was telling somebody earlier that my kids complain once in a while, so I took them to this hospital. And the hospital has 58 kids, and not one of the kids, they're 18 months to 18 years, not one of the kids can sit up or turn over by themselves. So whatever problems you have or I might have is nothing compared to those. And like my brother was blind. He had issues. I don't know, whatever problem I have is nothing compared to what he had to deal with. So no matter how bad you think you have it, somebody else is worse off. So move forward and get ready to take on new life tomorrow.
Thank you, Jennings, and let's go to Wheeler.
What are some situations or events that took place in your life that you would say had a significant impact on your character?
Events in my life that happened, well, there's a couple. One is I've already talked about, I don't know if to you guys or not, but it's when my brother went blind when he was 12 years old. I thought how lucky I am to be able to see. And another thing was when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore in high school, I usually rode home with this guy that had a car after basketball games. And another buddy had gotten his driver license that particular day. Well, anyhow, about 2 miles from where I grew up on my family's farm, it's after a basketball game, we're following. There was a car wreck, and the people that I was usually ride with, there was 3 of the kids killed in the car wreck. And I happened to, that day, ride with the other guy, or I would have been in the car with those other kids. So, yeah, somebody was looking out for me or helping me with that. So those are things I think about frequently. And I remember every time I go over and visit my brother who lives on the farm where I grew up, I drive by that spot and I can still visualize the kids laying on the ground and all that, because it happened about 20 minutes before we came up on the wreck. And so I remember all those things. So I just feel fortunate to be able to do what I do. Whatever it is tomorrow brings, I can deal with it. It's not a problem. And I think, tomorrow is a new day for all of us. And we're not exactly sure what's going to bring it, but deal with it and make sure you handle it and do the things that you should do.
And thank you, Wheeler. And let's go to Mountain Gap, Alabama.
Which coach do you think helped you out the most?
Which coach? Well, can I say all of them? Would that be fair? Because they did. I had great coaches when I was in high school. I never started playing football until I was a freshman in high school. And then my junior college coach, who is still alive, by the way, is 96, in Boise, Idaho, one of my favorite guys, friends. And then the coaches at Oregon and then the coaches in San Francisco, they all helped in the development of my skills, I'll put it that way, along the way. So I have great respect for, this goes back to teachers and coaches. Coaches are basically teachers in my book. And I was really lucky to have all of them were good coaches and taught me the fundamentals of the game. And that's why I thought my skills, whatever skills I had, I was fundamentally sound physically, and then the coaches helped me do that, and mentally they also helped me do that by getting the information and making sure I was prepared to enter the games with what I needed.
Okay, and thank you, Mountain Gap. And let's go back to Newark Digital Academy.
Who taught you the most about your NFL, football? Who taught you all that, how to play?
Well, the coaches. I had a lot of coaches and you don't learn it all from one person, I guess. Like I said earlier, I played in high school, went to junior college, finished at the University of Oregon, and then went to San Francisco. So as you grow through the different levels, you learn different things. But one thing is constant through all of that is your teammates. And remember that it is a team sport. It's not an individual sport. I tell the story. I think the most important person on a football team is a center. Somebody says I'm crazy. I said, well, I probably am, but nothing happens unless the center snaps the ball, right? So and the quarterback can't throw it until the center snaps the ball. And the lineman, if they don't block, the quarterback can't throw it. So the quarterback, he might be about 5th or 6th important on my list. But anyhow, it's, all people, they help you along the way. And it's probably like in your schools right now and I don't know what grade you're in, but, you've learned more as you go along. And that's kind of how you do it in football world. That's kind of how that works.
And I think it's important to note that, he talked about the great teachers he had, the great coaches, is realizing that, and he shared a little bit about this earlier, realizing that we all need help. We all need assistance. If Mr. Wilcox had trouble with his, strength, he'd go see someone that, one of the coaching staff, his strength and conditioning coach, which in that day, they didn't have a strength and conditioning coach, but if you needed to work on his foot speed, he'd work on that. If you need to study playbook harder or learn how to diagnose plays, he'd study and work with someone to do that. And that's the same thing with you guys in your everyday life. If you're not the best math student, seek help. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, I need help on something, because we all need help on something. I mean, we all need a shoulder to rely upon, and Dave Wilcox does not go into the Hall of Fame if he didn't have great teammates as well. So it's really important to know that we function. That's why we really think that football is the ultimate team sport, and we like to promote that, because in everyday life there's teams going on. Whether it's your family working together to get through the day and get through the chores and get the house stuff done and take care of the kids and all that stuff. My wife and I work as a team with our 2 kids, or whether it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a company. We have all these different departments that have to work together to function properly. So whether it's function in that area or whether it's the center to the quarterback, whatever it might be, we function as a team, and it's important to rely upon those teammates to get things accomplished. Because if we all do our job, then we'll have success. And it might be having a great Hall of Fame event, might have a great Hall of Fame broadcast with Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox, might be winning a Super Bowl, it might be passing a math test, whatever it might be. But those are some important things to know from that. So let's go ahead. That was a Newer Digital Academy. Let's go to Lorain County. I see we got looks like about 12 minutes left. So I think we'll be able to get a few more questions. So Lorain County, go ahead.
Our students had to leave, but they left a question with me. A lot of them, growing up in the Cleveland area, are huge 49er fans. What does it mean to you to put on that 49er uniform?
Well, it'd be hard for me to put that on now because I'm a lot older. Actually, I got drafted by the 49ers. I was the 29th player drafted by the NFL, and I also got drafted by the Houston Oilers. And back at that time, we didn't have agents and all that stuff. So I went in to talk to my college coach, a guy named Lynn Casanova, who was in the San Francisco Bay Area, and because he told me don't do anything until I talked to him. So I talked to him, and he said, okay, the 49ers drafted you, Houston drafted you, so what do you want to do? And I said, well, what should I do? And he said, well, you need to sign with San Francisco. And I said, well, okay, that's good enough for me. So I did. And then I had really fortunate to have great coaches. Jack Christensen was our first head coach, and then Dick Nolan, who came over in 1968, was just a heck of a coach. His son, Mike Nolan, is coach, I forget where he is this year. He was one of our ball boys when I was in San Francisco. And just another side note, there was another guy. His dad was our radio announcer, and anyhow, Dan Fouts was the other ball boy that helped Mike Nolan when I was with San Francisco. So I've known both of those guys a while. But anyhow, we got to play. I played against Johnny Unitas and Joe Namath and Bart Starr, and I mean, played the Rams with the Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen. And I remember in 1970 was the first year that the NFL and the AFL had a Pro Bowl where you played each other in the LA Coliseum. And I remember they introduced all the players, and I'm standing out there beside Dick Butkus and Gale Sayers and looking across, and here's Bobby Bell and Lenny Dawson and Namath and a guy. I says, where I came from and how in the world did I ever get to this point? And I'm standing here with these guys. I mean, it was just the most incredible moment in my football. I'll never forget that. So anyhow, I got to do, my childhood dream, I guess, although I said earlier I wanted to be a baseball player. I couldn't hit a curveball or couldn't throw very well, so I pretty much eliminated that from my job opportunities. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
And thank you, Lorain County. Let's go to Jennings, Louisiana. Jennings High School.
Can a person's character make or break him or her in athletics?
Well, I guess it can. What I would say, I think life is probably more important than athletics. Sometimes you don't think that, but it's about, the people you associate with daily. We're, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was to your group or not, but we're all in this together. And you guys sitting in that room and other rooms around the country are the future of our country. So take care of us. Take care of each other. You have to do that. You have to work together, and you have to respect other people's thoughts and processes and things. You don't necessarily have to agree with everybody, but you be respectful and treat others as they would treat you. You would want to be treated. So, life is important. Tomorrow is a new day, and I'm a little older than you guys, but I can hardly wait for tomorrow because something new is going to be here. We haven't had a tomorrow yet. And listen to your teachers, by the way. I don't know if I told you guys that, but they're there to help you get to tomorrow and learn about tomorrow and make things happen. And you guys got to be excited about your future and where you want to go. And I'm sure if you work at it hard and have people will help you, you'll get there, wherever that is.
Okay, and thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
And we'll go two more questions, and we'll have Mr. Wilcox closing remarks. Wheeler Elementary, if you have a last question, go ahead.
How do you think football has changed since you played and today, I guess?
Well, how's it changed? Well, the guys are probably bigger and faster and smarter, and they make more money than I made. Of course, that's true of everybody. It's still a game. My son is a coach, and he's a defensive coach. And so he never asked for any pointers, and so I volunteered information one time to him. And in a football, you can't score without the ball. The ball, you have to have the ball to score, right? And if you're playing defense, no matter what system you have, you just don't let the guys with the ball get across the goal line. It's pretty simple. Don't make it complicated. But anyhow, the main thing is to have fun. And the game, like I said, the guys are a lot bigger and faster and probably smarter than we were. But I have a lot of good friends, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I'd do the same thing again. And I know a lot of my buddies and friends would do the same thing. So you guys are the future. And so you need to take care of us older people, okay?
Thank you, Wheeler. And let's go for the last question of the program. Let's go to Mountain Gap.
Who inspired you to play football?
What did you say?
Who inspired you to play football?
Who inspired me to play football? I'm not sure who that was. I guess just kind of where I grew up, and that's kind of what we wanted to do, so I wouldn't have to milk cows and stack bales the rest of my life. I'm not sure. Football gave me an opportunity to go to college, which I probably wouldn't have had if it wasn't for football. But we and I just, I don't know, I like the idea of being around the guys, because it seemed like they're all good guys, the teammates and our coaches, even though coaches yell at us. But it was fun, and I just being around football people, and that's kind of my area, I guess. I really enjoy that, just talking and kidding with one another. And the older you get, probably you think you were a better player than you actually were. You might have been faster than you were 30 years ago. Who knows? But we have fun, and it's about life and moving forward. And like I think I said a while ago, I can hardly wait for tomorrow. because we haven't had it yet. And there's going to be something new tomorrow. I'm not sure what it is, but we need to be ready for it. So you guys study hard.
Okay, and I just want to say thank you. I see we're coming close to the close of the program, so I want to just thank all the schools for the great questions here today. But Mr. Wilcox, are there any closing remarks that you would like to share? I know you shared a lot. Whether it's being prepared or whether it's taking care of the old folks. But is there anything you'd like to close with?
Well, I know that I think the kids have studied about the character things that we talked about, and I can't pinpoint one more important than the other. I just think it's, you have to be fair and honest with yourself, and take care of your friends, and they'll help you. We all need help getting through this life, and but make sure that whatever you do, you would want somebody to help with you. And it's been fun, and like I said, the younger generation is our future, and I'm rooting for you.
And make sure you guys remember to take care of them. Well, just on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, from our executive staff, Mr. Wilcox, you know him all, you know us all pretty well here. Just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to make the hour-long trip there and the hour-long trip back to go to come do this broadcast, and just want to say thank you for that.
All right, thanks, Jerry. And yeah, it actually wasn't as far as I told you the other day. My GPS, I got a new phone, and it gave me a wrong direction. So.
Uh-oh. So how long?
But I was, huh? Actually, it's only about 30. It's only about 30 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I read the directions on the sheet. Yeah, I was. Wait a minute. Well, my old GPS thing, it said it. I thank God I didn't follow that one, or I wouldn't have been here till about now.
Well, students, if you guys could all unmute your microphones for a second and join me and give a warm round of applause to Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox. And again, we want to say thank you to Cisco for helping making this connection here possible. Thank you to ETech Ohio. Thanks to Deer Valley Unified School District for allowing us to host this at their building. And thanks to all the teachers and all the schools and all the students out there for making this connection possible and for all your great work. You guys had some really great questions today. Thank you for your hard work on that. So take care, and this concludes our program. Thank you very much.